Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of my Solopreneur journey. I wanted to demonstrate the landing page so far. Um, I just wanted like a basic way to collect email addresses because I thought of an idea of an early adopters list, which is just, I would consider the OGs of Shades of Service. So early adopters will be whoever decides to sign up first. I want to give some type of incentive. So they'll, one, be notified when we go live, and two, um, I want to offer some type of discount. And I thought of actually grandfathering them in. So my hope is to make this like a lifelong project. So, over the course of several months or years, as I keep thinking of new features, keep adding to it, which some may at some point warrant a price increase. But for the early adopters, I would like to keep them at that same rate, basically as a thank you for signing up. Because the way I see it, the directory is only as good as the beginning list of businesses, because I don't know about you, but I probably wouldn't want to join something that was basically empty, because I know not a lot of users are going to be attracted to something that's not, doesn't really have that much for them to search through. So I don't know. That's my reasoning behind it. But yeah, actually at the last minute, came up with this icon. I don't know if you watched my previous videos, I talk about Mark Liu. He's like a really famous solopreneur on LinkedIn and Twitter. So one of the free tools that he put out is called Logo Fast. And you're just able to create an icon and download it for free. So I use his tool to create my icon. I just search for directory. And when I think of directory, I think of a bunch of folders. And one of the, I'm kind of speaking ahead, but one of the features for this directory is a user will be able to add a business to their list of favorites. So I liked it. This had a heart right here, so I just went with it. Um, and oh, so what are the, excuse me. Again, one take. I'm not making another video. So if you're seeing this, hello. um, so I built this with Next.js version 14. So far, I don't want to use version 15. I may change my mind along the way and I'll just upgrade and see what that's like. But for now, version 14, of course, TypeScript, Tailwind, React icons. This form is actually built with Sanity. I have a early adopters waiting list schema that just takes in an array of name email pairs. I was going to use like I think you call them CRMs like MailChimp or something, and they have like those ready to go forms you can just plug and play right into your app. But for whatever reason, they just did not work for me. They just did not play nice with Next.js, and I really didn't want to spend all that much time going down getting this third party service when I'm fully capable of building my own form. Um, and one thing that I saw is you're able to import like a list, a CSV of a bunch of emails, which I could create a CSV and pull in all the emails that I've collected from Sanity. So that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, so when you hit stand form, it either checks if this early adopter list was empty, it would create a new schema called early adopters waiting list and then add that name email pair to it. But if it's not empty, it just adds this name email pair to the already existing list. So it's like making a patch. I think that's what it's called. So for validation, I never played with Zod, and I've seen a couple of the websites and apps that we made at work with Zod, but I've never actually played with it directly. Or if I did, it already existed, so I wasn't, the person who set it up or anything. So one, I wanted to know how to set it up, and I wanted to just know, like, what are the possibilities that you can do. So one of the things that I did for name and email is name is required. It can't be empty, of course. Can't exceed 40 characters. It must contain only letters and spaces, and the name cannot be just spaces. So if somebody just hit the space bar, they can't do that. As for email, of course, email is required. It checks for invalid email format. So if there's no @ symbol, of course, it's not going to go through. And it checks for invalid email structure. So something at something dot something. Basically, if that structure is there, it passes that basic check. No reply emails are not allowed. I added this at the last minute. I've been getting an influx of solicitation emails through my contact form, my agency website, and the email that they always use is no reply at whatever. So I went ahead and just added a filter that out because I don't want anybody to just give me basically a dummy email address the whole purpose is for me to be able to send you an email at some point, and I can't do that to a no reply email. I don't know about you, but when I'm testing, I'm famous for using example.com, test.com, email.com. So I went ahead and also filtered those out. So you can't just give me a dummy email address with those. And then I was going to actually did try using, it's this tool called Disify, which it will basically tell you if an email is valid or not. Because I intend to send like a coupon code or whatever. I don't want people to just keep sign up with like 10 random email addresses or, because there's like some type of like incentive attached to it. So I tried it and it worked great, but it worked a little too great. So my agency URL is .agency. So my email is service@1023.agency. And it actually said that that's it flagged it as an alias email. So I was like, well, dang, I couldn't even submit my own. And the whole point of this is for businesses to sign up. So a lot of people could be using their business email, which they call them like role emails. So if you see like info at whatever the company domain is, it would filter all those out for the most part. So I was like, all right, well, back to the drawing board. I don't want it to be that strict because it kind of defeats the purpose. So I actually found a GitHub that had just a text file, I think of like almost 4,000 domains of temporary email addresses. I think it's like a running list that they keep adding to. For example, Mailinator. I don't know if you've ever heard or seen somebody use one of those, like a temporary email. One thing I've learned, this is the first time I've shared building anything live in public. And one thing I have seen is there's always going to be certain people that try to like spam your contact form for whatever reason. So I wanted to cut down on as much of that as I could. Of course, you're not going to be able to block out everything because if you have like Joe Schmo at gmail.com, like you just made that up, but like, excuse me, technically that is a valid email, so it's going to go through. But I just did a little bit of due diligence, and I've never actually gone this far with like restricting inputs for forms. So like I said in the previous video, this project will kind of be like a learning experience. So anything that I've either wanted to learn, started to learn, but never got the chance to finish, I'm going to take the time to stop what I'm doing, go learn that thing, and then go back, apply it to whatever feature I'm working on, and then rinse and repeat until eventually I should be done with this entire website. All right, so I'm going to just test out the validation so you can see. Of course, with an empty email, you get all of the messages. So Zod gives you like an array of emails, error messages. And so I just map through to just show a list. Now I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then I'll do just email. Oh. All right, so name must only contain letters and spaces. Emails from example.com, email.com, or test.com are not allowed. So it's like the special validation that I used. And then I'll do a valid name. So I'll do Jane Doe, and then I'll just do jdoe@gmail.com. And so in the background, once you pass the Zod validation, all right, I'm back. Sorry, my little thing went away, and I hope I'm still recording. But anyway, so when you do have valid name and email input, what's happening when it's submitting is I also Well, of course, I searched the email off of this really long list of invalid email endings. So if you pass that, then it's getting sent to Sanity in the background. And I don't know if you were paying attention, but this number was 3. Now it's 4. One of my friend Andrew, shout out to you, Andrew. He actually gave me the idea of trying out optimistic updates for this, because behind the scenes, I do have a Sanity webhook. So if I had refreshed the page, this also would have changed to 4. So I have it set up kind of like in the webhook, I have, think of it like a listener. So basically, you can tell it to watch out for changes of any specific type of document. So I told it to watch out for my waiting list document. So if I either delete something, update, or add, it's going to say, hey, that document was changed. And so it basically forces a refresh and revalidates the tag. So anytime I make fetch calls, when I do use Sanity, if my document is called waiting list, I tag it waiting list. So I'm able to like map, hey, this document changed, so invalidate this fetch and get fresh data. And so that works, but you had to have navigated away, or it'll be updated to whoever next comes to the page. So if you just now went to Shades of Service, you would see 4, while you would still see 3 before I had done the optimistic updates. And I didn't really like that. I wanted it to be a little cleaner. And me personally, if I was adding my name to a list, I would want to know that like my submission made a difference some way. So I want to see that count update. So what I'm doing is on successful submission. So when I get the 200 response from Sanity, basically, I go ahead and increase this count by 1. So initially, I pull in the initial count from Sanity. So I just get the length of the early adopter list and pass that into this component that just has the number and early adopters. And then on a successful submission, I take that count and increase it by 1. So when a person refreshes the page, the +1 doesn't persist because you're getting fresh data, which is 4, which is still accurate. So it's just a way of you seeing what the new number will be a little early without having to force a refresh. But either way, you're going to see the correct number, which was actually a good idea. Thank you, Andrew. Shout out to you. I actually like this. So I can see myself using this for something else. But yeah, like I said, this is very basic. This will be the landing page that will be shown until I actually launch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, create a new branch, like a development branch or something, and I'm going to build it out. That way it's not public facing, on only development. I can see it. And then once I'm ready to release, of course, I'm going to remove this landing page, send out my emails, and, the whole 9 yards. But I just wanted something to, one, gauge interest just to see, and just to get something up there, because I've already bought this domain over a year ago, if you saw my first video. So, but tell me what you think so far. I hope that you'll sign up just to see, what all the fuss will be about. And thank you for watching.